Good afternoon, dear Stitchers. This is Judy with JBW Designs, and this is actually take two. I recorded a video this morning, and when I went to download it, it had disappeared. So knowing my skills on this computer, you will not be surprised to know that somewhere it is lost, so I'm going to start all over again. But there's good news about that. I've practiced it thoroughly, and so hopefully this will be even better. First of all, my channel is about cross stitch, and if this is your first time visiting, I am Judy Whitman, and I am the designer for JBW. I work up here in an office on the upstairs of our house, and I know that things look neat and tidy behind me, but I just want to let you in on a little secret. Everything around me and on that side is kind of a mess. So I've got piles everywhere. I've got a trunk show getting ready to go out next week. I have piles of orders that have to be shipped. I have files for new designs. I have new models. So I kind of take the room apart and then I put it back together again. So welcome. And I want to thank you for joining me, for watching, for all of your wonderful comments. I just love reading everything you have to say. Sometimes people comment after the video. Sometimes the comments come in the form of emails. So whatever way that you choose to write to me, I'm very, very grateful. So let me get started again, and I wanted to review a couple of things that took place in the last video. And I'll give you a quick update. I talked about a woman who I'd gotten a letter from named Jessie, who was in a nursing home, and she had broken her hip and she liked to stitch but didn't have any supplies. So I asked people if they were interested, if they would send her some things, and several people responded. I know that Lisa and Annie and several others said they were sending things. I also sent a package. I did make a mistake, however, in that last video, and I want to kind of tell you what I did and what I learned from it. So one of our viewers wrote to me and said that I had given her address, that in today's world, we have to be very careful about sharing addresses. And I had never thought about that, actually. So the next time I do anything like this, rather than putting it out publicly, I will have you write to me privately and we'll conduct whatever needs to be done in that manner. So I apologize. That had never occurred to me. Just one quick minute. I'm sounding kind of hoarse this afternoon. I didn't tell you to grab some tea or your stitching or something and settle in so that you can hear me kind of jabber away. Let's see. I also had a couple of pieces of mail. One is a funny one. So months ago, Sue sent me this postcard, and it is a St. Patrick's Day postcard, and you'll be surprised. Why am I showing it now? Well, it took 2 months to get from Philadelphia to Michigan. So I'm sorry, Sue, that it took so long for me to acknowledge that. And then I got 2 wonderful notes, handwritten notes, from people who had won prizes. And Linda sent a darling little note to thank me for her prize. And also, let's see, let me remind myself, and Judith sent a note about her prize. And I looked at the back of this note paper to see where it was from. It's actually from It's So Emma. I thought it was very cute stationery. So thank you to both of you for writing. Let's see what else. I know there was another note that I wanted to cover with you, and this had to do with the closing of the finishing touch in Louisville, Kentucky. And I've talked about this before. It's very sad. The owner passed away, and they were not able to sell it or reopen the shop. But one of our viewers wrote to me, Susan, and told me that she actually went to the sale that took place on the last day. And she said people waited in line for over 2 hours. It was very, very hot. But she said it was wonderful in a way because they talked about the shop owner and her helpers and how wonderful they were, and about their love of stitching. And in the usual kind way of stitchers, some of the people who were in line who were older, it was very, very hot that day. They tried to find shade for them under the trees. So I just thought you'd be interested in knowing about that last day. It's kind of bittersweet, isn't it? We just hate to lose any shops at all, because so many of you don't even have a shop that is close by. So let's see, another topic that came up last time had to do with a new design that I have that is a reindeer design. And I was telling you all, I didn't show it to you, I kind of described it to you, but that I was struggling with getting a new name for this piece. And I'll tell you what, you ladies are great at sending, and gentlemen perhaps, at sending suggestions for us. So I'll read you a few of them. They were great. There was Reindeer at Play, Reindeer's Day Off, Reindeer Holiday, Deer in the Winter, it's hard to say this fast, A Reindeer Winter, Over the Fields We Go, Winter Celebration, Frolicking Reindeer. And so those were just some of the many ideas. So I want to thank Pam and Davey and Glee and Chrissy and Susan and Elizabeth, Kathy, Lois, and Cindy, and I may have missed a few, who took the time to think of a name for me. And I actually think there's one on that list that I'm going to use. So once I show you the design, I will announce the new name. So I also told you in the last video that you know I love to go antiquing, and we have a fair about 45 minutes from here once a month. So I went 2 weeks ago on a Sunday with a friend, and I did find some treasures. So I want to show you some of the things I located, and also I'm going to unravel this here. And maybe if you're out and about, you know, at thrift stores or etc., you'll think about keeping your eye open for some of the ideas. So one of the things that I've been picking up are old packages of rickrack. And one of the reasons I do that is that the rickrack that is made today so often is in such bright colors. And my finishers tell me it's very hard to find some colors that are manufactured any longer. So I picked up a wonderful cream and several pretty aquas that I'm not even sure are made anymore, a navy blue, a couple of pinks, and a white. And I picked up quite a few other packages also, and those I have passed on to one of my finishers because I know she appreciates them. What's funny to see is the prices on these. So one of these, see which one was it, was priced at 70 cents. I'm guessing today the prices are probably 3 times that. And oh, here's one that was 19 cents. So you know that one is quite old. And here's another one that was 90 cents. So that was one little thing I keep my eye open for each time that I go, because I just put them in my finishing drawer. And then let's see, I also found this, which I just love. I actually have another one similar to this, but it's like a little paper clip, but it has a hook or a hole in the top of it. And I love the little brass hand. I just think it's so dear. So I'm hanging this in my packing closet, and I can hang orders from this and then just pull them down when I need them. So that was fun to find. I also found, now this is not something that I collect, I used to, but something just, I looked at it and I thought, oh, I just loved the colors. It's an old hat box. And the vendor who sold it to me was telling me, I'm going to show you the inside of it. It's all handmade, and there's all kinds of old newspapers on the inside, and it's actually signed up here at the top, and the name is Berta Montgomery. And she said that this is a Berta box, which if you're a collector of these, maybe you'll be familiar with it. I didn't look it up to see the value, but what I loved about it were the colors, because these are the colors that are in this room. And so what I'm picturing is I'm putting it up on one of my high bookshelves just for display. But I thought that was just such a beautiful accent piece. And then another thing that I often look for are pillowcases that have some embroidery on them. And this one is going to be hard to see. I'm going to try to get it up close. Let's see if I can get it for you, because it has hand stitching on it. It's almost like crewel stitching that's all white on white, and was a little hem stitch border on it. So last Sunday I had some time and I just made it into a little pillow. And how I do that is I keep it very simple so that there's no hand stitched closure at the bottom. I just, on the back, kind of fold each side under so that I'm able to tuck a pre-made pillow inside of this. And I tried to utilize on both sides this pretty little hem stitch kind of border here. So that was kind of a fun find. Let's see if I can get it to focus a little bit. And also, I think I've told you, I collect blue and white china. And I found this bowl. It's a transferware bowl. And the gal that sold it to me said she thought it was quite valuable. I have not looked up the maker. It was made in Germany, and it looks like it says Yalta on the back. I'll have to do a search for this. It could be Malta too, but I just love the shape of it. I love the colors. So that was another treasure that came home with me. And then the last treasure that came home, I'm always on the lookout for designs that I can use with my round pieces. And I don't know if you follow, I'm going to suggest, oops, the light is bad there, Kim with Contented Stitcher. And recently, she has shown in a lot of her videos, she's been using antique clocks to finish designs. Now, the designs she's using aren't necessarily round. She loves birds. Her bird pieces are just gorgeous. But she's figured out how to fit them into an old clock face. And I thought the finish on this was fabulous. I just finished designing a round Halloween design. Although it's finished already, that would have looked perfect in this clock. And what you do with it then is you remove the clock face from the back and then just mount the design behind glass here. So I'm thinking I'm going to use this somehow in a future piece. I just thought that was really cool. So let's see, where do I put all of this? So those were my antique finds from a couple weeks ago. So between this morning and this afternoon, this morning when I did the video, I started to tell you all about my new ornament booklet. And at that moment, I had been waiting all week for them to be finished. And we were running into all kinds of roadblocks. First of all, the spirals are all spiral bound, hadn't come in yet. And then the next day they said, oh, the person who assembles these is on vacation this week. So here I thought I'd be shipping these this week. I am delayed a little bit. But between morning and afternoon, I got a message saying the books are ready. So my husband was a good fellow and set off for the printer after lunch and picked up my brand new Christmas Ornament 4 booklet. So on the back of the booklet is a picture of a Christmas tree with all the ornaments on it. And I'll just kind of, let's try it this way. You can see that all the charts are inside for each of the 20 ornaments that are in the booklet. And these are all different from the ornaments that are in the first 3 of these collections. So I have pulled a couple of the ornaments for you to see up close that are in this booklet. I'm very excited to have it in hand, and now I know I can start shipping right away because I have quite a few orders for them. So what ornaments are in the booklet? Here's one that's in the booklet, and this is a tiny little snowman with lots of little motifs on the inside. I had this professionally finished. Some I did myself, but look at the fabric she chose for the back. Isn't that just gorgeous? And then she used a pom-pom trim for the edges. And the trim probably came from Lady Dot Creates or Dames of the Needle. There's a little corded twisted tie and a bow at the top. So that's one of the ornaments. My voice still sounds very hoarse. So hopefully that will go away. Here's another little ornament that's in the booklet. This is just, as you can see, a tiny little stocking. Some of these ornaments are very quick to stitch because there's really not much stitching in them. It's just a little chalet, some snowflakes, some Christmas trees, and then this, look at that fabric on the back. Isn't that just dear? So that's another one in the booklet. This is another one, and this heart design actually is a new one that I did especially for this book. And it has the characteristics of a French country design also, because it has the doves in it. You can see the crowns, stars, little trees, hearts, etc. And that was finished with this on the back as the fabric. And then here's another one. This design actually was very popular years and years ago. And if you look at it closely, you'll see that the words in the tree, you'll have to look at it really closely, say a very Merry Christmas. And look at the edges. They were finished with a beautiful ruched ribbon. Look at the beautiful fabric on the back. I mean, everything. She did such a beautiful job on this. So it says a very Merry Christmas. This book is out of print. So I pulled that design out and have republished it. And there are two more that I want to show you from that booklet. This is the little cardinal tree. And this little ornament, actually, if you can look at it closely, the heart is actually made up of tiny little stars. And when I first designed this, it actually was stitched in several shades of gold. And I just thought it needed to be updated. So I stitched it in several shades of green. I actually like it a lot better. And I finished it with just a twisted cording along the edges and a little holly fabric on the back. So I love the way that's been updated. So those are 6 ornaments from the new booklet. And several people have said they don't have a shop nearby. If you are unable to find it, please email me or make a comment below, and I'll try to find a source in your area. I know that sometimes that's hard to do. It's interesting because I don't know if most of you probably know this, but designers sell their books directly to shops, but our books are also sold through distributors. And it's kind of a necessary evil in our business, because if you think about it, there are hundreds of designers out there, and a shop owner, it's very costly for them to order from each designer individually because there's shipping involved. And so what many of them choose to do, which is very understandable, is that they'll place an order with our distributors, and they can order from 20 different designers and have all of it in one box with one shipping fee. So it's just the way our business is run. It works. I always appreciate shops that order from me directly, because it's the percentage that distributors take from our wholesale is actually quite high, but I also understand why that's not always feasible. So I've got 2 trunk shows out this month. One is at Accents in Louisiana, in Metairie, Louisiana, and I told you about that a couple weeks ago. And then there's another shop that I wanted to tell you about, Terry from the shop called For the Stitcher's Soul has just moved her shop, and she is now in Del Mar, New York. She moved just 2 days ago. She's having a grand opening of her new shop on the July 30th, and I am sending a trunk show to her store. And Terry does a lot of really neat promotions. She has an Ornament of the Month club. She has a Gnome of the Month club. She has a birthday club. So check out her website or give her a call if you need to place an order. I know she'd appreciate it. She's a fairly new shop. I think she's only been in business maybe 2.5 years. So I know she'll appreciate any business that comes her way. So today my theme was going to be and is going to be inspiration for Christmas in July. And what I did is I pulled out, so not only did I show you some of the ornaments from the ornament book collection, but I've also pulled out another series that I've been doing over the years. And let me rearrange things here. And this series is called Sing a Song of Christmas. And there are 15 titles in this series. I'm going to show you the very first one that was published. This was, first one came out in 2016. And this is called Over the River and Through the Woods. It could be a Thanksgiving or a Christmas ornament. These are actually finished as flats. You can see here I always tell you the Velcro on the back is for display. And I'm going to give you some hints on how to figure out how to finish a stocking flat shape. But you could also make this into a tiny stocking that actually has a pocket in it. So my suggestion to you, first let me show you the book. I'll take this step by step here. So this is the book for that design. Sometimes the ornaments actually have little charms in them. This one actually has some brass beads, or I'm sorry, brass stars. The first couple designs that I worked in this series, I'm kind of shaking them up and down, were worked on a 32 count Belfast linen in the color latte. So these have more of a tan or an ecru look to the background. But as I went on and did the later ones, I tended to do those on an antique white background. So, choose what you like. I think the tan background gives it kind of an old world feel. You can work it on Aida, you can work it on 28, you can work it on 25, whatever fabric is easiest for you. So that was the first one in the series. And let me pull out, I'm going to show you 2 more that were worked on this latte fabric. This was the second in the series, and I said there are 15. I'm not going to show you all 15, but I pulled out a couple that I thought you might want to see. So the second one was Here Comes Santa Claus, and this is what, I can only do one thing at a time. This is what the booklet looks like. And this one also has little brass stars on it. And some of these I think are fairly quick to stitch actually because there's not a ton of stitching in them. So I'm going to show you, I'm going to skip over a couple here because I want to show you and talk to you a little bit about how you find this shape. So this is Little Drummer Boy. It's Song of Christmas 11. And this was fun to design. It took me a while to get the little drummer boy and his drum so that I liked how it looked, but I was happy when I was finished with it. You can see that there is chenille on the edge of this one and just a backing fabric on the back, little bow up here and a tie. And this is what the booklet looks like. So it's getting kind of dark outside. I think we're supposed to get rain in a bit. Now, what have I done? So this is my hint for your finishing, because in order to finish this shape, you need to draw a template. And the easiest way to draw that template is to just lay your stitch design, of course before it's finished, down flat on your printer. just make a copy of it. Now you have to pretend that you don't have the trim around it. And after you've made your copy, you're just going to take a pencil and you're going to draw about 3/8 of an inch beyond the design all the way around that whole design so that you have the right shape for the stocking. Because you need that template, you want to have a little curve, you want to have the toe and coming up over the heel. You need a template in order to cut your mat board or your comic board. You need it for your backing fabric. You're going to need it to cut out your design itself. And so having that template makes it easy because you've drawn yourself something that you can use to trace. So the steps that I would take would be, I use comic board, which is a little lighter than mat board. I'd cut a stocking shape out of the comic board. You can put batting on top of that or a piece of felt. And then I leave a nice wide margin before you cut beyond your 3/8 margins that I talked to you about. And you're going to glue or use a double-sided tape to tape that to the back of your board. Then you're going to need to cut a second board or piece of comic board because you need to put your backing fabric on that. And then you're just going to sandwich those pieces together. And you could glue those two pieces, but I prefer to hand stitch them. And then you add your trim. And the trim can be hand stitched or it could be glued to the edges. Another little hint is to leave an opening up in this top corner so that you can insert your hanging, whether it's a little bit of the string or the twisted cording or a ribbon that you're going to use for the hanger. And if you leave a little opening there, then you can kind of tuck the ends of that down into that opening. And then you can just tack a little bow over the top of it. So if that makes sense, I'll be very happy. If it doesn't make sense, I want you to write to me. Ask me questions. I'd be glad to clear things up in the next video because some of you are new and might not be familiar with some of my finishing instructions. So here's another one of the early designs. This is Sing a Song of Christmas 4. It is Away in the Manger. And this too, I'll show you the ornament, that's easier to see. This too has some interesting things added to it. So I've done gold beads for this background of the whole design. I also added a little angel charm and a brass star up at the top. This has been finished with a ruched ribbon around the edges here. But of course, rickrack would work. Pom-pom trim works great. Anything that you can find that you can picture yourself doing the finishing on your own. So that is Away in a Manger. And let's see if I can get that. The light tends to shine on the booklet here. All right. Oh, we hope this is working this time. So Sleigh Bells Ring is the next one. This is Sing a Song 9. And it says, Sleigh Bells Ring, are you listening? And this is the design for that one. I don't think, that doesn't have any charms on it. It does have a couple of beads that I used at the top of the trees on the reindeer. So let's keep moving here. Another design in that series is Sing a Song 6, which was Oh Christmas Tree. And this design, I also used beads in the background. They are very pale blue beads that are used for the snow. And gold beads were used for the top of the candles. All right, I have 3 more to show you. So this one was a fun one to do. This is Sing a Song 7, which is Oh Little Town of Bethlehem. And it was fun to try to design all the little buildings that I pictured in that town, the sheep on the hill, the palm tree. So that is Oh Little Town of Bethlehem. Now I forgot to tell you, I think, that the designs that were worked on white were worked on a 32 count antique white. But as I say, choose whatever appeals to you. Here's another one. This is Sing a Song 8. And this is Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And this little stocking looks like this. Let's see, there are gold beads in the background and on the trees. And then the last one, I didn't want to overwhelm you today, is Sing a Song 12. And this is I Saw Three Ships A-Sailing. This was fun to design. I found the ship charts in some of my antique chart books that I have in my collection. So I saw three ships a-sailing in the morning on Christmas Day. So those are some of the designs that I've done in the past using either Christmas songs or Christmas hymns. I started to design another one, but I started it. I'm not real happy with how it's coming out. And sometimes when that happens, I kind of set things aside and I will come back to them later, because sometimes you just need to walk away from it for a little while and return and see if you can't get it into the form that is appealing, at least appealing to me. So I have a couple other things to share with you today. So I've talked to you before about the fact that I often do a contest on my Friends of JBW Designs Facebook page. And last week I posted a contest and it was close to 4th of July. So I decided to do something I called Red Letter Day. And I chose 3 quite different designs actually. And what happens is you go on to my friends page. If you're not a friend, you just ask to join. Everybody gets in. There's no, I'm not turning anybody away. But what happens is I post 3 designs, and I do this every few weeks. And then I ask the viewers to vote on their favorite of the 3. And I love reading your comments because you always write such interesting notes about why you chose what you did. And then after a couple of weeks, I close that contest. I go and use a random number generator. I choose a name from all those who have responded, and then that lucky person wins all 3 designs for that week's contest. So this was one of the pieces in the last contest. Incidentally, it's still open. I haven't closed it yet, so I'll probably close that out next week. This is the Birds and Berries alphabet, which was, actually it's a couple years old. And let's see, that is worked on a 28 count R&R reproduction fabric called Irish Cream. And I believe, let me check here, I think it was worked in ribbon red. Yes, a crescent color, but you can always substitute a DMC. So that was one of the designs in the contest. And then another design was a 4th of July, a patriotic design. And this is called Sweet Land of Liberty. And I love the finish on this. I think I showed you last time some of the seaside finishes. The same gal that did some of those did this one. It's absolutely fantastic. She's mounted it on wool, and she's actually made a pocket out of it. So you could put, I think I used it, yes, I have little flags in there. I knew there was something in the pocket. And you can see that along here, she has stitched just another piece of white felt, and then she's mounted a few covered buttons above that. And then the design itself is actually finished as a flat with a twisted cording edge, and that is mounted on the front of the pocket. And this is what the booklet looks like. And this was stitched on a 32 count natural Belfast, and I used quite a few fibers in here. Most of them were classic colorworks, and I always put in DMC equivalents. So that was kind of the second design in that contest. And then the third design in the contest was out of my French Country line, and it's the French Country hot air balloon. And this one, I love this model because anything stitched in red is beautiful. This was stitched on a polka dotted fabric from Fabric Flair, and it was stitched over one on a 28 count fabric. And I just think it looks so sweet. Oh, you can see, can you see how dark it is outside? I can hear the rain coming, which actually is okay. We need the rain. So I have one other thing to show you that I'm working on, and it is something that I showed to you in the last video. It is based on an antique sampler that I bought at the last antique fair. And I forgot to pull out the antique sampler. I forgot this morning and I forgot this afternoon. But I charted the sampler. It's basically a marking sampler. It was done in Troy, New York by a little girl named Melinda Farrell, who was 12 years of age when she stitched it. I am stitching it on a, let's see if I can find the fabric. I think it's antique ivory. And I love the colors. There are only 4 colors in this piece. And I'll show you what I'm using. Let's see if I can, here they are. I can pull them out for you. So there is a very deep brown, so I'm using hickory sticks from Classic Colorworks. There is a beautiful dark aqua that's called Kentucky Bluegrass. The medium aqua in this piece, I'm using something called Verdigris. Not sure I pronounced that right, from Weeks. And then for the pale color, I'm using Tiny Vine from Classic Colorworks. So as you can see, it's just a lovely palette. It's a very small piece, and I just started it a couple nights ago. I'm hoping to be able to finish it hopefully in the next few days, because I have other things, of course, that I need to be working on. So a few more things to talk to you about. If you want to contact me, email is the best, judy@jbwdesigns.com. I told you about the contest. I do have a website, jbwdesigns.com, and I do have a shop on that website. The designs that are in that shop are older designs, but it gives you a chance to order them if you want to. Let's see, what else did I want to tell you about? Oh, I wanted to tell you about some life updates. So 4th of July, last Monday, we got together with our whole family. I hadn't seen my son and daughter and his families for 2 weeks, so that was great to be together again. This was a crazy week because that was Monday night. Then Wednesday night, a friend and I went to dinner and we went to see a play, which we haven't done in years, at a barn theater nearby. Tonight, we're having our grandson and his wife over for dinner, and Wyatt and Kylie are the young couple that I told you about who are going on a mission trip to Uganda, and they leave in a month. And just thinking about saying goodbye to them makes me so sad, but I'm so proud of what they're doing. And they're trying very hard to see everybody in the family one-on-one to spend time. So I know that we're going to treasure our time together tonight. And then tomorrow, I'd even forgotten about this, I am going out to South Haven, which is about 40 minutes from here on Lake Michigan, and my brother-in-law and I are going on a garden walk. And so we'll visit 5 different houses and look at their gardens. So that'll be great. So I have 3 winners this week for prizes, and the way I choose winners is I look at all the people who have made comments, and I again use the random number selector, and I choose 3 names out of all the comments, and I'm going to tell the prize winners this week as usual. If you write to me, if you hear your name, I will send you any one of the titles that I featured today. So if you want to choose something that I talked about, please write to me and I'd be happy to send it to you. So the winners this week are Kathy Stever, And then the second name is Kathy, spelled with Kathy with an IE, Richards. And the third name is Sharon S. So congratulations, and please send me an email and I'd be happy to send out your selection. So I have one more quick note to tell you, and that is I have an inspirational quote for the week. And I hope this gives you a sense of joy and peace. May your week be filled with positive thoughts, kind people, and happy moments. And I'll tell you what, I'll have a happy moment if this video works on the second round. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for commenting, and thank you for subscribing. So hope to see you in a couple weeks. Take care. Bye-bye.